hear ourselves. So, welcome back.
Hello, everyone.
To the Guild of Gamers live cast, episode number 3.
That's amazing.
It is.
3 whole.
And we're coming to you live from Petrie's Family Games in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Yes, we have survived the blizzard.
Or the blizzard bomb, hurricane, snowfest.
I don't know if you could call it a bomb because it was like going sideways. It was more like a rocket blizzard.
You know what? I like that better than a bomb blizzard. Been seeing that all over Facebook.
Now I'm thinking about Dairy Queen. I want a blizzard. So thank you for joining us. It's been a minute. Last time we were live was beginning of February. Mm-hmm. So it's mid-March. Spring is here. Spring is coming. Well, no, not really.
Maybe not in Colorado.
Yeah, not in Colorado. And there's probably people watching who are like, oh, you don't know blizzards unless you live in Connecticut or Michigan. You know what? Y'all can keep that lakefront weather. We like the dry, fluffy snow.
We really do.
We really do. So, what do we got on the agenda for today?
Well, it's going to be a little different, I'm not going to lie. We have a very special format to you today because we are bringing in some special guests because really we want to get you pumped for Game Fest coming up in April. And of course...
That's next month.
That is totally next month. You know that, right?
Seriously?
Are you ready?
Oh my gosh. Oh.
Yeah. It's we are working hard here. It is all Game Fest basically for the first 4 months here at Petrie's. We are working to make sure that we are providing you with the best games at Game Fest and of course the most premier designers.
Yes. And we'll get to special guests in a little bit.
Yes, we will.
But as you can see over here, our show today is powered by Mr. B Games, owned by Sean Brown, who is a local.
He is.
Local Coloradan.
We have a lot of really great local people that are just supremely intelligent and gifted in creative ways.
Yeah. Yes, we do. And I won't say it's because of Green State either. But we are a family-friendly show here. That's why we are broadcasting live from Petrie's Family Games, where you can game pretty much every day of the week but Monday.
That's true.
Right? We're open every day of the week but Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's tell our viewers about what's coming up in the month of March and a little bit in April, shall we?
We do have, of course, a lot of events on. We're always having something going on here. But we wanted to at least give you some highlights of some things that are going to be happening on some special weekends or that are one-time events. You can always check out our calendar page for our concurrent events or recurring events. And, just to know further details, times, look at the pretty pictures, sign up in advance, all that good stuff.
Yes, we like you to sign up in advance. We like to know you're coming.
So
we can
set
booby traps. No, we have a lot of seating here, but you'd be surprised the Tetris we have to play sometimes with figuring out what groups can play at what tables and how many tables. And so RSVPs are very helpful.
It's true. But first off, we've got the Mystic Vale event coming up on March 23rd. I suggest that you don't prepare to win because I will be winning that. And, shout out to my adopted little brother who I will totally, well, he's not playing, he'll be running it. But still, I could take you. I would take you. I'm amazing. Game of Thrones is having their store championship on March 24th, just the next day. We promise to not leave a, pool of mourning tears for those who have lost me. And we also have our Coin Series Play and Learn coming up on March 30th. It is going to be part of a whole campaign. But we are also excited to, give a shout out to our live cast, brothers and sisters out there here at Petrie's, because Playing for Superpowers is going to be having a Patreon launch on March 30th. So, no, yep, they are. It's going to be a huge event. They're going to be, here, and we invite you to come and meet them. They are pretty much celebrities at this juncture, so.
Yeah, and just because they're launching a Patreon, they've already been podcasting. They've already been put out a bunch of episodes, but, hey, upping the broadcast value costs money. Hint, hint. Sorry, it wasn't for you viewers, it was for someone else. It's okay.
Okay, we'll move on. All right.
But yes, Praying for Superpowers podcast, you gotta check them out. Local folks, they're awesome.
But as we start moving into April for our events, I just want to make sure everyone knows that we are closed for Easter. We love our families here. We love them so much. And we want to make sure that, especially on major holidays, we are home with them. The reason why we tell you in advance is so that you can come in before that and get all your family game needs taken care of before you are sitting there, bored, thinking about how you're going to have to pull out forks and bubble, pipes just to stare at each other in the eyeballs because a little seagull told you that's what we do when we're bored. But April 6th, we have our Keyforge chain tournament. If you don't know what that, Keyforge chain tournament is, please check out our first podcast.
Did I miss the March Keyforge tournament? I was out of the country, so.
Yeah. But we do have one coming up, and you can, if you don't know what that is, again, episode 1. Throwback. We also have speaking of game designers and what we're going to be getting to in the second half of our live cast today, we do have some launches that are happening, and their launch parties are happening here. So we invite you to the Gins of the High Desert launch event. I had so much fun playing this at the Couples Dessert, which was episode 2. Check that out. And so that is going to be happening on April 6th. We are looking forward to that. Zombicide Black Plague is having an event, the tournament game thingy on the 13th. And of course, we love our Magic players. They are getting another midnight pre-release launch, so we're going to have a midnight tournament and then a 10 a.m. and then a 6 p.m. on Saturday, so there's going to be a full coffee-needing, sleep-deprived day of awesome for all of you who love Magic. And then, of course, we work our way right then. That's April 27th, sorry. Forgot to go there. I'm so excited about Magic. And then we will be at Game Fest on April 26th through 28th to, of course, provide for your convention entertainment needs. But apart from that, of course, Petrie's will still be open, just so I don't confuse you.
Oh, so so would you say the people that are working Petrie's that day are in the doghouse because they don't get to go to Game Fest?
I think that they would consider themselves to have gotten out of
the doghouse. Because we're going to be run like dogs at Game Fest. We are. We're totally have that in our mind. We're like, man, I wish I could be back running the store.
I don't know.
Because it's like, it's a specific time, like 10 to 6, 10 to 8, and I'm done.
I love the convention. It is very intense. I really enjoy
the con
working
life,
there. But some people are not like that. It's all the people and the, potential for the con crud. They just want to stay home and take care of things here.
Let's talk about Game Fest, because Game Fest, is really exciting. I love conventions. Been to Gen Con, been to Essen. It's very different to go as an attendee when you're trying to get to all these games, get to all these panels and listen, and you're fighting, you're standing in line, you're buying exclusive tickets and all this other stuff, than actually being behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Which being behind the scenes is completely different. It's like you've got the magic pass. Like, here you go. I got it right here. See, I get to go in that door.
Yeah. VIP.
So, what are some of the things that go into planning for Game Fest?
Well, of course, we are reaching out to our game producers and game designers all over the country and world, really, to see if they want to partner with us as we are planning the events. And then once we kind of have figured out who is going to be joining with us, then of course we can start customizing our event schedule around those people, their games, and what they can do for you.
Nice. And this will be my first Game Fest, but how many years has Game Fest been going?
Well, I think that Petrie's has been running it for 7 years.
Okay.
Before that, I don't remember if they had like an organized group that was running it, because Starfest has been running their convention for like over 40 years. They are a staple of the Denver convention community and have been just getting better and better over the years, which is why we strive to get better and better every year when we are hosting it.
Nice. And for me, I just found out what the theme of Game Fest is. And we'll tell you in 1 second. I'm completely dumbfounded when it comes to this theme. I know it's out there, and people are going to be like, wait, what? So here it is. The theme is Cthulhu. I have zero knowledge about Lovecraft.
I'm a little shocked by that.
Yeah, I think I've played Elder Sign, the app, a couple
Which
times.
is very close to the board game.
Right, which is more like a dice version, right?
Elder Sign is the simpler version of Arkham Horror.
Right, which I've never played Arkham Horror. It's, well...
Sorry guys, don't be mad.
I'm a fan of Fantasy Flight. I just went sci-fi rather than Lovecraft. It just... Because they're like, oh, I can get this big collection of Battlestar Galactica or this big collection of Arkham Horror. I'm like, I'm going sci-fi.
Arkham Horror can be sci-fi. Arkham Horror can be any of the things.
I know.
Cthulhu can be any of the things.
People are yelling at me right now through the screen. No, it's...
Sorry, I'm going down now.
I'm going to have to, research. I see Cthulhu Munchkin. I see all these other Cthulhu-themed games. There's probably even Cthulhu Love Letter. Out there's like Cthulhu keychains and women's handbags, and it's just like...
And dice boxes. Don't forget the dice boxes. Those are cool.
Yes, I've seen those. Or dice towers. I've seen dice towers. So, share with the folks some of the... Because you're more of a Cthulhu expert than me. Because I'm like, tentacles, big squid-looking thing. I'm like, cool. So, what are some of the things that's making this event Cthulhu-themed?
Well, we are inviting in the H.P. Lovecraft Society. They are coming in to...
There's a society.
There is a whole society. And one of the founders is going to be there at our humble little Game Fest. We're super excited about that. But we also have some industry leaders that have been a part of the various installations of Cthulhu-themed games over the years. And so for us, what that means is we are going to make sure that on the schedule there are going to be a variety of games, as many as we can put our hands on that are Cthulhu-themed, that are...
So there's going to be demo tables where people can sit down and play.
Yeah, and it's not just board games either. We always have an RPG room that is going. It is usually full of 2 to 3 games at a time, in addition to our tiny dungeon. More on that later. And
tiny dungeon.
Oh my gosh, it's the best! I can't wait to tell you.
Oh my gosh!
But it means that we're going to be having Cthulhu RPG stuff going on and Cthulhu board games. But
wait, there's Cthulhu RPGs?
Oh yeah! Oh man, they are intense. I'm not gonna lie.
Does somebody act as Cthulhu, or is Cthulhu more like a non-playing entity you're playing against?
Generally, any kind of Cthulhu-based game has the threat of an elder god, kind of emerging onto our planet at any moment, and the players are generally trying to stay sane enough to stop that from happening, but mostly the games end up just being about staying sane enough.
Oh, so you can go crazy.
Oh, that's a huge component of any Cthulhu game is it's a madness-inducing chaos ancient.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, you've piqued my interest.
Oh yeah.
So let's show up the bunch of faces
Yes.
up on the screen. So you see on the top, if you want to know more about Game Fest, just check out that website, starfestdenver.com.
Yeah, and we are super grateful. Sean Brown is going to be there. You'll see him in the top, left corner. We've got Todd Gardner from Chaosium. We have Keith and Sam Avalon that are from Play Games. That's with 2 A's. I am not him. Why do I keep trying to be him? Sorry about that. And then, of course, we have our gentleman from the H.P. Lovecraft Society. So we are excited about that.
Which is Todd Gardinger?
No.
That's not Todd?
No,
Which
that's
one's
not
Todd?
Todd.
No, that one's Todd.
Yeah.
That's Sean.
Mm-hmm.
That's Sam.
Mm-hmm.
That's Andrew Lehman
Yeah.
from the Lovecraft Society.
Yes.
And we just got confirmation. The green logo on the screen.
Who is that?
Praying for superpowers.
I knew that.
Petrie's
watched-
Family Games is a sponsor of the Praying for Superpowers podcast, and they will also be joining us at Game Fest.
Sure.
So I got to see if I can crash that party.
Oh yeah. Like we're gonna be there too. Obviously, our logo isn't on there because we don't have one. But if we did, it would so be there because we're awesome too. Not as awesome as Praying for Superpowers yet. But they've been doing this longer.
Yeah. So Game Fest will be in Denver, Colorado, from April 26th, 27th, and 28th. That is Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
If you're up in the local Denver area, it's real easy for you. Colorado Springs, if you don't mind driving 45 minutes, you can stay in a hotel for like 10 times the cost of fuel to drive up and back. I think I will probably just be driving up and back depending on the weather.
The convention does have some, special deals with the hotel that is hosting us. You can check out, the Starfest website, and they've got links to bring that cost down a little bit.
Yes. So we've talked about Game Fest.
Mm-hmm.
There's a link on the website. We put the website up. We've talked about events coming up. So we're gonna take a quick break. Yeah, a little one. We're gonna bring our first designer in, and then we're gonna come back and live cast again about their latest game, which was at the Couples Night.
Mm-hmm. Quite a few of them. We're going to have multiples. But
Yes, but we're going to have two local designers. We're going to interview them, talk about their games, maybe give some Kickstarter information. Kickstarter, oh my gosh!
And of course, Game Fest isn't the only thing that's happening in April. We will also be having GameCon here in the Springs and this one as well. Petrie's loves supporting local, of course, because we are local to you, and we, of course, would encourage you to check those out. We'll have links to those as well.
Well, alrighty. I think it's about time. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. And welcome back to livecast number 3 of the Guild of Gamers podcast from Petrie's Family Games here in beautiful Colorado Springs. And this is episode 3, part 2.
It's true. I told you it would be short, didn't I? That was short.
Yeah, we talked about teeny dungeons and Game Fest and everything. Hey, if you missed part 1, just head on over to our Facebook page, click on the video link, and you'll be able to see part 1 where we talk about upcoming events to include Game Fest, which is coming at the end of April. Mm-hmm. So, we're going to be continuing our Game Designers live cast today. So, if you would please welcome our friend Jack Hensley.
Hey.
Hey!
All right.
From 4 Level Productions.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Yeah, thank you for joining us, Jack.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Sorry that we told you what time a little late. I was out of the country. I was in Germany, in the land of board games, for my other job, which I was sad because I've gone to Essen several times. I just couldn't get away from that trade show to find a local game store because there's always these German games that are like language independent. You can just download the rules on BGG, and I was sad I didn't get to come back with any cardboard.
That's terrible.
But Nuremberger sausages and beer was a wonderful thing.
Yeah, that'll make up for it, that's for sure.
So, Jack, tell us a little about yourself. Are you from Colorado, or?
I am actually a Wisconsin guy, and through the years I've moved from Wisconsin to Boston to Charlottesville, Virginia, and then just recently, about 4 years ago, moved out here to Colorado Springs and love it.
Oh, nice.
Of course.
Yes.
That's why I moved back. It's humidity is my nemesis.
Yes, definitely. From the East Coast to here, I totally agree with that.
How long have you been gaming?
So,
And what type of gaming?
So,
that's important as well.
To be honest with you, I'm a workaholic. I'm not a terribly big gamer like some of the people here at Petrie's. I mean, it's just amazing. Little jealous, very jealous actually. But just from my background, I've worked as a architectural industrial scale model maker. I'm also a printed circuit board designer. I live in the land of 3D and three-dimensional drawings and things like that. So that's where this game came from, and that's where so basically my game of choice are easy card games, chess, checkers, in that realm.
Well, also, do you because you have that one of those beautiful mind genius where you can see an object and you can picture what the other side looks like. Do you find yourself playing any abstract games?
I don't play many, and it's just more from a creative perspective, because I just like to stay fresh in my thinking. So,
who do you most common game with when you do have an opportunity?
a lot of times, my wife, friends, family is basically that, and that was before I learned about these game stores here. So, and ever since I've learned about Petrie's. I've wanted to do this, but I'm also knee deep in trying to get this game out. So it doesn't leave much time for having a lot of fun.
It's not ironic.
So I'm kind of boring. Sorry.
So this is where I have to ask my partner in crime to continue the conversation because we're having a problem with camera number 2.
Uh-oh.
Well, that's exciting. Well, tell me then about the game. Why did you want to start building a game?
The game was actually something that is kind of a number of things. Games I've seen, games I've experienced. So I wanted to take those ideas and come out with my own version. And that's basically what I've done. So it's bits and pieces from different games.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Where are you at in the process?
Oh, that's exciting news. So right now the company is set up. So it's 4 Level Productions. Here in Colorado Springs, which is great, very proud of that. And we are in the process we have an initial website out. We're in the phase of getting that updated. We have our social media, which we have our Facebook, and we are doing I have a Twitter account too. All play 4 levels. So we're also right now working with manufacturers, trying to get them figured out which one we're going to use. Kickstarter, May 1st. Please support our game. Thank you for letting me get that plug in there.
Of course.
So right now we're busy trying to put that together. I can share some stuff with that at some point if you'd like to talk about that once we show the game. So it's kind of where we are right now, where it's just so many things happening right now that it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, that's amazing. I can't even imagine all the work that goes into setting up a Kickstarter, but I imagine
it's not just the Kickstarter. It's just all the work of having to get a website set up and just the amount of work that goes behind that. I have a great team that I've hired help, and they are wonderful. So without them, I couldn't get half of it done. So they've been great.
So when you first got it started, like, yeah, obviously you had the idea, you thought that it would be, something that had a niche in the market that needed to be filled, could be filled by you. What was your next step then? How did you get started, and what did you decide? Like, did you build the prototype first, or did you have to do incorporating businessy things?
Actually, both. Since I've had this idea for a while, and I've had previous businesses in model making and stuff like that, so I really wanted to understand the business side better to go into this successfully, to try to make it successfully.
Right.
So I studied with the SBDC here in Colorado Springs. They have great classes. There's my plug for them. And really trying to learn the foundation of what I really need to do in order to get this business started. And they've been wonderful, very supportive. And then in the meantime, while trying to do all that, like as many of us know, we have to multitask. So it was also involved then with prototypes and manufacturing and all that kind of stuff that goes with it.
Yeah, so that sounds like a tremendous amount of work.
It is. It's been crazy, but I loved every second of it. And that's, I guess if your passion is to have my passion is I would love to bring a product to market and just see it be successful and people enjoy it. And that's what I look forward to.
So you were here with us briefly on camera. I didn't get to interview you too terribly long at the couple's dessert. I'm so sorry, everyone. But we're bringing him here now because he was demonstrating this game for our couples that night. And how did it go?
It was great. It was great to get some feedback because now, which we'll show you here in a few minutes, I actually have some playtesting games. Obviously, the molded game, the best I could do is a 3D printed model of it or example of it to show. It's not the prettiest looking thing because the actual game playing field will be clear because you want to be able to see down through the levels.
So, I hate gremlins.
Right.
But because through the magic of editing, even though we are live, we're going to take a quick break and we're going to come right back because the great thing about editing is that I can just take all these little live segments and put them all in one big video onto YouTube.
Excellent.
And you saw nothing. And it's not my fault.
It's the threat of Cthulhu.
That's what it is. The Elder God is coming down and messing with our broadcast equipment.
May he consume your house last.
Oh no.
So we're going to take a short, quick break, fix camera number 2 so you can see this beautiful game that Jack Hensley from 4 Level Productions is putting on Kickstarter again.
May 1st.
May 1st. Okay, we're going to bring you all, write that back, write that down. May 1st, Kickstarter. We'll be right back after this tiny dungeon break. And we're back.
Hello. Should we try it again?
Yes.
All right.
All right. We've fixed the little technical gremlins, and if you missed our previous live cast, we have Jack Hensley from 4 Level Productions, local game designer, local publisher here in Colorado. Love Colorado. And he was telling us his background in gaming and what he came about. And now we're going to get into his latest game, which is called
4 Levels.
I must have missed that, trying to fix the gremlins before. So, just to give you an idea, the reason why it's called 4 Levels, this is a 3D mock-up of the board.
Isn't that cool looking?
I mean, do you call it the board? I mean, what do you,
Yeah,
tower?
I
mean,
call it the playing surface. I don't know, there's so many things you could call it, but playing field, playing board. And now, obviously, this is a 3D printed model, so it doesn't look as pretty. It'll all be clear ABS plastic, so you will be able, when you play the game, to see through it.
Well, hey, let's click on over to our
Our
top
ground
down.
camera.
Hey, it
Hey,
works!
all right.
Hey, there it is.
Man, that's awesome.
And so, as you can see there, it is clear ABS.
Definitely. This is our playtest model that we've been letting people test the game on, because obviously we don't have our molds made yet. So this is one that people can actually come and play the game and test it out.
Yeah. And material is important. ABS is one of those plastics that you can really get the grind down, and when you mold it, especially with clear, you don't see imperfections in the acrylic,
Right.
in the plastic. So you don't want bubbles or imperfections. So ABS is a very good material to use for solid plastic, especially clear.
Yeah.
Clear all the
durable
way.
too. So
Yeah.
can be dropped and thrown around, and after a loss or something, just in case you get a little carried away.
Where did you come up with the idea of this?
So this was actually an idea I came across a long time ago, about 25 years ago, and kept this idea and wanted to bring it to market. So
Cool.
yeah, it is pretty neat. I was actually involved with a game about 25 years ago that was similar to this, so it's kind of an offspring.
So, what is the goal of the game?
The goal of the game is to be successful, or you're talking about to win.
Yes,
well,
the winning condition.
Right. What is the
How
win
do you-
condition? And how many
Right.
players?
It right now is a 2-player game. We're looking into making where people can buy an add-on of pieces and a game piece holder, where it could be a 3-player game. So that's kind of exciting. But right now we're starting out with just the 2.
Mm-hmm.
And the object of the game, as you can see, I don't know how clearly you can see, but there are like 3 different types of pieces. And the idea is to get 4 of the like pieces in a straight line on the playing field. So it can
So
be,
we have solid, open square, and then
right.
like a donut hole, but square.
Exactly. So basically we call it like a ring, a fill, and the other piece is a wild. And just to keep it short, in your winning trying to get a winning combination of either the ring or the fill, the wild piece can be used in combination with those to make the winning combination. So pretty neat.
What is a combination? I mean, we've got 4 levels. I don't want to say other games to
Yeah.
to be rude or
No.
anything.
But if I could if we could sneak this in here, I'll let you
Let's
do that
see.
because you.
Oh,
We got the glare thing.
it's okay.
There we go.
There we go.
There you go. On the bottom,
JD, can you hold that?
Yes, I
Just
can.
it shows like some of the winning combinations where it can go straight down, it can go diagonal through the board, or it can just be on one layer where you have this winning combination. So it's not terribly hard to understand, and it's easy to do. It's more of a casual, fun strategy game.
So you're trying to make a straight line of 4 bits, either amongst the 4 levels on a single level, but it can go straight, it can go diagonal.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
And the key is it has to be a straight line. So you can't have 2 pieces on one layer and then 2 pieces on the next. It's just not a straight line.
Right.
So, and the key to this game also is that the pieces are played in a sequence. So you always know what your opponent's going to play next. You start
Oh,
off.
so you just can't randomly pick
No.
one of the 3 pieces.
That is correct. You start out with the wild, then your opponent plays the wild. You play the ring, the other opponent plays the ring, play the fill, and then your other opponent plays the fill. So you always know what he's going to play next. And the key to that is when you're planning your strategy as you're putting your pieces on or trying to block your opponent, you always know what he's going to play next. So you can kind of use that against him. And one other key thing on the game I wanted to mention was that both a ring and a fill piece can fit in together. So the 2 pieces can actually share a space on the board. So they
So
can't.
who does that space on the board count to? Which player? Or-
It's not a blocking. It's not a blocking situation.
Oh.
So your opponent could be going this way. You could be going that way. It's the great thing we call these half pieces, because if you put it down, it only takes up half the square. So
it counts for both the black player and the white player.
that is correct. So that is one unique thing
I'm sorry.
about the game.
Black piece and white piece. Sorry. This is a family-friendly show. I want to be politically correct.
Good thing for it.
I apologize.
So anyways, yes, so that is one of the cool factors about this. And then obviously your wild piece will take up a full square. One other thing I want to mention, which on that game night when we had people play, a question that was asked is if it was possible to stack pieces, on that square, and it is not. So
Gotcha.
just clarification, so when you get your game, we've got that documented.
So, approximately how long does the game take?
The game takes about 10 to 20 minutes, just depending on the caliber, how familiar people are, how they can associate with the three-dimensional aspect of the game.
You know what? My 13-year-old son loves to play chess. He's always asking me to play chess. Because you've seen him come out here for the Keyforge tournaments. And my 6-year-old loves to play Connect 4. You and I are going to have to talk offline.
Definitely.
Because I definitely think this game with my kids, they would actually get it. They would actually, believe it or not, my 6-year-old, she is ruthless with Connect 4.
It is a ruthless game.
They have that
not-
mindset. They're not like adults where they think kind of in a 2D world. And that's what's the beauty of this, is that it kind of takes people to a whole, no pun intended, but a whole new level of thinking, right?
Pun
I
very
think
intended.
yes, intended.
Yes.
So you're coming to Kickstarter on May 1st.
Correct.
Do you have an idea of MSRP, pledge level?
Yes, I do. I can tell you all about that.
Okay.
So the manufacturer's suggested retail price is going to be $49.99. On Kickstarter, May 1st, the first 500 games will be $30.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, I know.
Folks.
Big deal. There's some incentive right there. The next 500 are $35. And then after that, it's $40. So you're going to get a steal, any way you support it. So we're looking forward to it.
Wow.
So please support us.
So yes, we'll be sharing, when that Kickstarter project goes live, we'll be sharing it on the website and on our social media channels.
Yeah.
We appreciate that.
Oh yeah.
And you can always visit us at www.play4levels.com.
And so, to have a good Kickstarter campaign, we got to have some playthroughs.
Definitely.
Some, because, so people can actually see how the game was played and stuff. And, I can help.
I will
that.
not
There you
miss
go. I do want to
It's too much
emphasize
strategy.
emphasize that kids really do love this game, and it's such a great educational game for them because they have that mentality for thinking in the 3D. If I can share just a real quick story, my internet designer guy.
No, not that high.
My internet guy. I gave him a game to take home to play when we first met. His kids love it. They just continually play it, and so that's what's rewarding to me because it brings fun to families, friends, and and it's not like a game you have to be so invested in. It's going to take a long time to
Right.
play.
So,
Are these all the rules just on the back of the box?
Yeah,
Oh, I love that
Yes.
so much.
it is basically 4 steps, and there are going to be some updates as far as just a little clarifications, but the box will also have instructions. But the instructions on the back, which are on our website, or you can see, it's just 5 minutes to learn. If even that, probably even a minute just to explain it.
and is this your first game going to full
Yes.
publishing?
Yes.
So, what have been some of the challenges of going to publish your first game?
Well, doing it all myself is definitely a challenge. It's not a full-time job for me. It's my side
Right.
hobby, right?
Yeah, a lot of
So-
people don't realize that is so many publishers. It's you don't make $1 million off games. You do it because you love it.
Right, and that's where it's important to have that business experience and advice. And so the biggest challenge is just trying to get everything set up to be able to successfully bring it all out at the same time. Your website, your Facebook, the social media end is just phenomenal.
I mean, what did we do before Face?
yeah, whatever.
We had
it is.
Facebook. We had.
There
what
are
was the
so
other
many
one?
kids that don't even know what that
What was
acronym
before Facebook?
together mean.
Um,
MySpace.
MySpace. That's
Oh,
what it
yeah,
was.
yeah.
MySpace.
Yes, I'm old.
Yeah.
So
You're a
and
good company.
you're actually wanting to publish it locally,
Well,
right?
I wanted to. I try to use all the resources I can
Mm-hmm.
here in Colorado Springs to help me with, the printing. I have a graphics person. She's local. My internet guy is local. I try to do the hosting local. I've tried to keep as much business in Colorado Springs as possible. I've looked into manufacturing in Colorado Springs, and unfortunately, that's just not going to be able to happen. But the two options I have, one is overseas, the other is in the United States. So I'm really rooting for the United States. So please back me on Kickstarter.
Yes. Yes. So the Kickstarter campaign goes live 1st of May.
1st of May.
How many days is it going to go for?
It's going to go for 30 days.
Full 30. Okay.
Yes. And I don't have an exact goal yet. That is one thing we're working on right now to try to come out with what's the best strategy for that.
Do you have an estimated when delivery is going to start?
Yes.
An expected timeline.
From since I have manufacturing pretty well set up, fulfillment pretty much set to go. So we've got that pretty well defined. The games itself will take 4 months between getting the molds made and getting the first run scheduled with them. And then
then there's also the back and forth of proofing
exactly
the components.
Exactly. And so it would vary, but I would say between the 4 and 5 month range. And I'll do everything I can to stay obviously right on top of that, because one, we want to come through on our promises, and we want to make sure people have this like in October timeframe before Christmas.
So a good chance for a holiday delivery.
Definitely. Yeah, that's our goal. Right.
Yeah. Especially if it's a United States
Oh yeah,
manufacturer.
definitely. That's
Once you go overseas, it's like then you're having to deal with
freight, containers,
overseas fulfillment, and all that fun stuff. Yes.
Yes.
Wonderful
quality.
stuff.
Yeah, all those things. So
Yes, because also, so we understand, like, to reserve a container, even if it's a less than full container, overseas costs a lot of money versus flat rate shipping by a trucking company in the United States, for a pallet is a flat rate. It doesn't matter how heavy it is, you got to stay just under a certain height.
Right.
That pallet going from A to B is flat rate, which is a lot less than
right,
a
and just
less
think
than
of
full
it,
container.
just think of
from
the
overseas.
time.
Yes.
Also, because trying to get it from
Because ocean is
yeah
4 weeks or more, depending on how customs go. So
once it gets in the port,
Yep.
then it's got to be shipped out from
Awesome.
there to wherever.
Well, this is spectacular, because I hope that what you've learned through this entire interview is that if you've got an idea and it's been percolating in your brain for a while, that doesn't mean it's dead. It just means that the coffee isn't done yet.
That's right.
There's a lot of work that goes into it, and educating yourself on the processes and the steps that it'll take to get onto that next process are sometimes exactly what you need to be doing during that time that you have to wait. But don't give up.
No, and Petrie's has a wonderful board game club for designers that you can come to. I highly recommend it. Meet some wonderful people. They'll play test your game, and they're very good with advice and things like that. And Petrie's has been very supportive. So
yeah,
We definitely want to
the
get
game
plugged.
designers meetup.
Yep.
I think I attended the first one. I've been bad. I haven't come back since, but
Everybody's got different times
That's
they
right,
can do
yeah.
stuff.
it's not because it's nothing to do with the meetup. It's just I'm just so busy with real life.
Yeah.
So, but again, Thank you, Jack.
Oh, it's been
for
my
joining
pleasure.
us.
Thank you.
So glad you could come
Yes,
today.
thank you for the invitation. Appreciate it.
And we're going to take a short, quick little tiny dungeon break. That's going to be a thing now.
I'm going to have to tell you what that is.
People are going to wonder, like, what is that? So we're going to take a tiny dungeon break and be right back with our next game designer. We're going to keep it a surprise, so you got to come back and watch us. Thanks for joining us.
Bye, everyone.
Thank y'all.
I got to find the outro. Where's the outro?
It's a little tight in here for a song and dance number.
That's right. Here. And welcome back to the Guild of Gamers podcast by Petrie's Family Games here in beautiful Colorado Springs, Colorado. And we are live casting episode number 3, part 3 of our game designer series today. So if you missed our previous game designer, Mr. Jack from 4 Level Productions, just rewind a little bit, check him out. He's on the live feed. But all of these videos, for your convenience, will be combined together and put up on YouTube, and we will share a link later on after we're finished.
That's true.
I've learned, don't actually say when you're going to do it because stuff happens.
It's true.
It just
Life.
it just happens.
Everything.
So, without further ado, we would like to introduce our next designer, Mr. Tom Shepard from Toresh Games.
Hello, how's it going? Hello, everyone.
This is exciting, guys.
Branding. It's
Branding.
important.
And you may have seen that logo recently if you've been checking out our Game Fest page, because we are super excited that you are going to be sponsoring with us at Game Fest.
Yes, Game Fest. It's going to be great. We actually bought 2 booths so that we can have more room, because you always need more room.
It's true. They have so many great games on offer. We, of course, encourage you to check them out. He has plenty of website and social media presence for you to
Try everything I can.
So before we get into your games, Tom,
Yes.
how long have you been gaming?
Pretty much all my life, really. Grew up doing games, the typical ones, Monopoly and all those. But also grew up designing stuff. I always loved to create puzzles. I did mazes. I do, the paper games and everything. Grew up in Utah. When I moved out here to Colorado, found a gaming group. Gaming with them, been doing that for probably about 15 years now.
The same group?
Same group.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
the
intense.
group has changed, but it's still the same group.
Nice.
But we always had those things where we talk about games and say, hey, wouldn't it be great if it could do this or do that and different things. And there's
Because
always that
we're
discussion.
very good at giving our opinions when we're playing a game. Win, lose,
Oh, yeah.
or draw. I mean, we're
Especially-
very vocal about games.
Not me. I am the soul of reserve and quiet.
Okay.
No. But I'm really fortunate because my son's in the 8th grade, and he's in middle school right now. They actually have a school-sponsored tabletop club every Wednesday after school for an hour, where the students can bring whatever game they want, and then people just sit down. They just play whatever, And
Yeah.
he's really gotten into games. But to get back to the, all gamers like to, hey, what about this? What about that? His superpower, we call him Theoretical Boy. Because he'd be like, hey, we'd be in the middle of a game and like, what if you could do this? You can't. But this would be so. No, you can't. It's not in the rules. But why don't we do it? No. No. Play the games, son. These are the rules. You gotta play the game.
Yeah, but why didn't they put it in?
What are your favorite types of games to play?
I'm kind of an omni gamer, really. It just depends on who I'm playing with. I love playing high strategy games with people that I know, because it's really interesting to get to know someone and how they play and then you kind of figure out, okay, how can I kind of counter their strategy because I know what they're going to do.
Right.
But if it's new gamers, I love playing simple, quick, easy games. That way, kind of gets them into gaming, and keeps them going.
Is there any games that you just prefer? Not like for me, I don't war game, and people look at me like, "But you were in the army." I'm like, yeah, I don't like to go GMT chits, and no, it's not my thing. I like pretty games.
Okay. The very colorful ones, right?
Oh, like Tidal Blades that was on Kickstarter. I'm like,
Yeah.
take my money. It looks amazing. Just take my money.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you play it, but wow, look at it.
It's like, remember the movie Secret of Nim?
Mm-hmm.
And it was all about the shiny. All the creatures will like collect the shine. That's me. I
Or
collect the
modern Moana.
Moana. Yes. So are there any games that you just don't find fun? Like types of games?
Types of games, not really. I will try anything once.
Gotcha.
And there are games where I go, I may not play that again, or I've got to play that again to figure out if I just didn't do it right this time, or what the deal was.
Right.
So there are a few games that I'll probably never play again. But I'm not going to mention.
No, we don't mention titles. We just
Yeah.
we just categories. We're just talking about because we love all games here.
Oh yeah,
We love all games.
games are good.
Yes, that's why it's called Petrie's Family Games. We love everything. And are you from Colorado or?
Grew up in Utah, moved to Colorado. My wife dragged me here.
Why do we get so
Good
many
job.
people from Utah?
Because it's right next door.
It's the home of gaming. Come on.
That's true. As long as they're not from California.
They really do love games there.
Oh,
Family
yes.
entertainment is huge in Utah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, if you're LDS, you got the family night once a week, and there's always family reunions. You need something to do. Games.
Is this your full-time job as a publisher, or do you do something else?
No, I wish it was, but no, this is part-time.
Mhm.
So my full-time job, I'm a computer security guy. So
That's
I'm a
amazing.
computer nerd.
That's not boring.
Cybersecurity. Hey,
You could say
where were
you're
you when
like-
the gremlins were getting into my laptop?
Sitting right over there watching them.
He's off the clock.
He's like, go, my little minions, go. So, do you travel much for gaming?
Some. I go to some of the conventions. Next one coming up here will be Game Fest, of course. Just got back from SaltCon in Utah. That was an awesome experience. And then later this year we'll be doing BGG Con. So,
Is that the one in Texas?
yep. All new
Well, there's
venues.
like
Would you
BG
want to go to Texas?
Well, there's
No,
BGG
that's
at
Texas.
sea.
Yeah.
What was the one? What was it? Like a couple years ago, they did a. I don't know if it was a convention or they considered it a meetup. They did it up in Breckenridge. They like rented a bunch of cabins and I can't remember what that was called. Because I was like, it's my backyard. But apparently they picked like a different location, all over the place. How many games have you designed or helped publish to bring to life?
So, designed, probably 30 plus.
Oh wow.
Not that many published, but designed.
Okay.
Actual published, the ones that I've published of mine, we've done 9. And then our latest release is actually one of the guys from the game designer group. He had a really neat game, and I thought, hey, that needs to be published. So we have a total of 10 titles out there.
Well, cool. Well, and that's the one on the table right now. Well,
That's the one on the table.
Let's go to that one with the game cam.
Works flawlessly.
Yes, we got
Yeah,
rid of
see?
the gremlins. So I'm gonna let JD
Oh dear.
show her enthusiasm.
So I got to play this.
Tilt it the other way. Other way. Tilt it other way. Keep tilting. Keep tilting. Keep tilting. Keep. Do it. Do it. Do it. Keep going. Keep going. There it
It's
is.
almost there.
Aye! my wrist doesn't go any further. I'm kind of inflexible.
Dijins of the high desert. So.
Yeah.
Just gins.
Yeah,
the
just
D
Jins. There's
side.
no.
Oh, Jins.
Gins.
It's like
Jins.
Cthulhu, where you don't pronounce all of the
You don't pronounce the Z?
There's no Z in there. Anyway, Jins of the High Desert.
I almost had you say
You
it.
almost made me do it. I got to play this at the couples dessert night. Couples dessert night was great, y'all. I had so much fun. I hope you had fun too, even if you weren't here, because we were here for you. But this particular game, I got to play with the game designer. It was amazing fun and really easy to learn and pick up. But one of the things that I love about this game is it is a simple design, easy to play, but it is really beautiful. Like all the different families of Jinn are scalable. So like you may notice. I hope you can see this. Oh, there we go. Nope, there we go. You'll see that the level 1 is, she's pretty. But the level 5 gal, she's got the bling on, y'all. It's so pretty. And it's as each Jinn gets more powerful, then of course they get more bling, or for the guys, if it's not bling, do they get more muscles? I don't know. Oh no, they get more clothes. Okay, well that works.
So Tom, tell us the concept of Jinns of the High Desert and why it was interesting for you to publish this game.
So it's kind of, you could describe it as like a light version of Magic. I mean, it's not a collectible card game, but it's a battle card game. And so you've got a hand of cards, and you're trying to get the most powerful palace in front of you. So as you're playing, deciding what cards to play, and each card has its own what it does. You pick the card to play, you do the action. Sometimes it'll affect you, sometimes it'll affect your opponent. And then you're just trying to make the best palace. And whoever has the most powerful palace at the end wins.
And how many players? Just
So 2 to 4.
2 to 4.
Yep. And when I saw it, we played it 3 times just right off the bat. And that's when it's ready for production. I mean, when you can just play it again and again and still find it fun to play.
It really is.
And so, I talked with the designer and said, hey, have you got this out there? Have you pitched this to anyone yet? And he goes, no, I'm really not sure that I'm ready to pitch it. And I said, well, okay, you don't have to pitch it to me. I'll publish it.
Wow, that was easy.
Yeah. And so went through, published it, and I've actually talked to him now. He's working on expansions for it already.
Oh, nice. So obviously there's 2 different versions there. What are the differences?
Differences are the containers. So this is the base game, and you just get it in a cardboard box. This one, MSRP $14.95. This has the really cool, awesome wood box with the felt lining. It's a little bit sturdier. It's got the etched inlay. I don't know if that actually shows up.
Oh.
It's got the etched inlay on it. So that's the deluxe version. The game's still the same, but it's the deluxe box. And MSRP on that's $24.95.
I've got the wrist tilt down now.
You know exactly.
There you go.
And so, and this was through Kickstarter or?
No, this is actually, we published the game. So we haven't done
Old
Kickstarter
school.
yet. Old school.
Old
yes.
school.
How people used to do it.
Yes.
Children.
And so our Jinn of the High Desert event at Petrie's, do you
That's
remember
right.
when it is?
It will be April 6th.
6th.
That was in my head, and I'm like,
April 6th,
April
which
6th.
is a...
Saturday.
Are you sure?
No.
Yes.
Yes, it's a Saturday. This is Questions with JD. So, sorry. We've been having my mother temporarily in our house till we get her set up in her new apartment, and she's addicted to the Game Show Network, which I've never watched before, and so
It's the best.
it just runs 24/7 for the past 2
Yes.
weeks in our house right now.
One of the good old ones too.
Yes, yes.
Match game.
So, I have a lot of questions for you. No, but anyway. And so,
So
when can people get this game? When is it going to be mainstream?
So it has hit the street. So
Okay.
yeah, it's available here at Petrie's already. We do have a launch party scheduled April 6th here at Petrie's from 6 to 9. plenty of snacks, drinks, and a tournament. You're one of the first
Hold on.
48.
Oh, snap.
Hold on. I gotta go buy this game. We'll be right back. Seriously. So.
Oh, I want to win the tournament.
Wow, I've never seen JD that excited before.
I like tournament. I'm not competitive. I just
She's
enjoy
really
the
excited about
process
this
of
game.
winning.
Yeah.
Awesome. So let's clear that one off
Okay.
and bring up a new one for Tom to talk about. It's on Kickstarter
It's on
right now.
Kickstarter right now.
This one.
Master, yep.
So we'll just give him a quick. Woohoo. See that little yellow banner says on Kickstarter now, Serpent Master. So open that up and
Well, this
show
has
us
got
what we got
our
there.
demo, so it's got all our demo pieces in it and such. Let's see here.
let's see if I can fix some lighting here. There we go. Brought down the brightness a little bit.
Oh, hey, I can lay that flat.
My son's gonna go, ooh, chess, get it, Dad.
It's actually kind of designed
Now,
somewhat with that in mind.
So was this one of your designs or
This is
another?
one of my designs, yeah.
Okay.
And so this is an abstract, card-driven strategy game.
Okay.
This one actually, I kind of credit Cam a little bit with the existence of this one. We were having a discussion one day, and he says, there's so many old games out there, and why don't people kind of repurpose those? Because they've been around forever. And I was thinking about it, and this is kind of born out of the old Snakes game, the old Snakes computer
Oh.
game, where you would run around
Yeah.
and eat stuff on the screen. So it's kind of the same concept.
Not the Snake's magnet game.
Hey, I'm still thinking Dig Dug at this point. So
Dig Dug.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Wow.
Older than Dig Dug,
Yeah.
sorry.
I'm old.
Well, apparently I'm older. Okay.
No, you're just in tune with pop culture. We don't.
Also
you go.
true.
Yeah.
I'm a geek and a nerd.
Don't forget Dork. All in that order.
Ooh, dorks are the lowest in the nerd social order.
The things you learn on the Guild of Gamers livecast.
Yes.
Nobody wants to be a dork or a dweeb.
So in the game, you have a set of cards. Each card, I don't know if you can get that close enough.
You might want to try that one then.
Try that one.
There you go. Perfect.
Hi.
There you go.
Hey, I got the wrist still down too. So the cards have different patterns on them. So as you go throughout the game, you're playing a card, and all the players choose a card simultaneously, reveal simultaneously. Then you put tokens down based on the pattern on the card. And you're running across each other, you're running all over the board. And at the end of the game, whoever has the most tokens showing wins the game.
Oh.
Okay, so I assume you only have a hand of like.
Now, when you say showing, it's whichever one's on
top.
Aha.
Yes. You have to be on top. And so there's 15 cards.
Do you get your whole deck at the
No.
same time?
So everybody has the same 15 cards.
Right.
Okay, at the beginning of the game, you shuffle them up, and you set aside 4 randomly. That way, everybody has a different set of 11 cards to play with.
Ooh.
Okay.
And then the game is over when you've played all 11 cards. So it's a fixed round. You know how many there are. You know what's going to be played. You just don't know what your opponents are going to play.
Okay, and it's 2 to 4 as well. Or
1 to 4 actually.
One. Oh, you can play solo.
Yes.
Solo gamers.
1 to 4.
I know Jason Brown, the local Coloradan, Major Brown, 22 on BGG. He's big into solo. So that's great. 1 to 4. It's on Kickstarter now.
Yep.
It's called Serpent Master. How many more days is it going to be live?
A couple more weeks.
Couple more
I think
weeks.
we're at 14 days left.
Okay, 14 days left. Can you share with us what are the pledge levels or?
So base game, $20. And
$20.
$20.
We are
a
getting
20.
good deals here
20.
today, people.
Dude, that's like 3 or 4 visits to Starbucks.
Yeah.
Or just one, depending on how fancy you get.
And amazingly enough, the 20, the way I priced it out is I got a quote for all of the stretch goals. And that's how much the goal is. And then the $20 per game came out of that.
Get out.
So,
That's amazing. This is fun. I'm not great at abstract, but man, my husband would love this.
well, that's the thing. I mean, there is strategy to this, but you know, I've had people that will just pick cards at random and still do well. They like random gameplay. That's just how it works for them.
It's true. I have played with people who have said literally out loud, I don't want to play a game where I have to think.
All games you have to think.
Well, this one you could totally just not. It's like, oh, that's the thing I put out.
Yeah, hey.
And each card has 2 options, right?
Well, it has multiple options, so the depends on where your head is. So yeah,
Well,
you,
like
you
that
can,
one says or,
Right.
right,
so you do either or, right?
right. So it's just shows you that you can go up and turn left or go up and turn right.
Uh-huh.
I love games that are scalable for the level of strategy a person likes to employ. I am not a huge strategy person, but I do still enjoy playing games with strategy. So this is...
Well, and this one, you know, like most of the games that I've designed, you can play it very simple. You can play it with, you know, young kids and they'll have fun with it. Or you can play it with the people who are super strategized, you know, it takes 5 minutes per turn. And
I think that's a
That's
lot of
good.
folks have the paradigm that, oh, once you say abstract, they're like, oh, it must be really hard. It's like, no.
no, it's
it doesn't
a
have
type.
to. Yeah. Like, you know, right now, probably, now, abstracts typically don't stay in my collection long, but the one that my family's been having fun with at the moment is Sagrada.
Yeah.
With all the dice.
Yep.
And again, it's pretty dice. It's all pretty.
Oh, yes.
But you know, my family got it. You know, it's that was one abstract game that they're like, oh, that clicks. You know, so and JD is having fun.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fun. It's good.
I forgot he was talking.
No,
You're not quite playing the one player, but yeah. Go ahead.
Because then you would have this deck, right, for the one player?
No, for the one player, you actually have the full deck. You pull 3 cards out at a time. And you have to lay those 3 out on the board without going over yourself before you pull the next 3 cards out. If you can make it through all 15 cards
without actually overlapping yourself.
without overlapping yourself, you win.
Haha.
Oh.
Okay, that's...
And for those who really, really want to challenge, because it's a standard checkers board, so 64 squares, there are 48 tokens on here. You play inside the pink, which is a 7x7, which is 49 squares. So if you can fit 48 and 49 squares, hey,
So if you
Wow.
think the 64 squares is too easy, and you're like, oh, I do it like 3 times in a row.
yeah,
Yeah, guess what? There's a
That is
heroic
brilliant,
mode.
though, to make it scalable like that. That's just clever. With easy components.
It's awesome.
that's what happens when you've been making puzzles and games pretty much all your life.
True.
All right. Well, we got one more
Yes.
because this one feels really heavy.
Oh yes. Right.
This is exciting. There would be,
Very exciting.
like, dramatic music building.
So
There would be...
coming in,
2001. Bum, 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 bum,
coming in
bum.
2019. Well, that's this year.
That's
Yeah.
this year. Later this year.
Yes, this is called.
Negative space.
Why do I have to be so negative?
Because this one actually is negative. You know, unfortunately, I don't have the playtesting piece. They're out being playtested.
So
But
we'll just go to the
Yes.
the camera number 1.
The box. You play as space corporations who are getting bought out by a megacorp. And your goal is to cause all the other corporations to have negative press published about them.
Oh,
So you're trying to knock everyone else down instead of build yourself up.
gotcha. Oh, is there a lot of take that?
There is a lot of take that in this game.
Well, when you know it's like that and everybody's doing that, then it's okay.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
it's,
No hurt feelings here.
exactly. And was this one you designed or you just published it?
This is one that I designed as well.
Okay.
You are a busy man.
And
Yeah.
will you be publishing this old school or?
No, this is another one that I'm hoping to Kickstarter later this year.
Okay.
I assume that's why it has this thing?
This coming. Yep, coming.
Coming to Kickstarter.
Yep.
Nice. And now is this cards, a board?
It's actually a modular board, modular hexes,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have spaceships, and then you have cards. So the cards are how you do the take that, and you play them against other people. So you move their ships around the board, get them where you want them, and they take that.
Oh, so they have to be in, certain. There has to be
Yep.
certain criteria for some cards to be activated.
Yep.
Okay.
And so you have fuel points that you use to move around the board. So you move stuff around the board, and when it gets to where you want it to be, you play the cards. They take that. They lose points. They lose fuel. There are different things that'll happen.
So I can imagine some of the decisions like, I feel like I'm about to get screwed. Should I move my ship or should I move Tom's ship? Well, Tom's the designer, so I better move his ship and get him before he can get me, because he'll probably whoop me. Yeah.
Well, and there are bonuses. So if you get your ship in a particular spot, you can claim the bonus, but then you're vulnerable to everyone else, because then they'll just jump on you and go, okay, we'll take that, take that, take that.
There was a little token I always loved that came in a Stronghold Games game, and said it was a little token about that big, and it was an arrow, and it says, "Always go for the leader." Always go for the person that's in the lead. Forget everybody else. Just go for the number one person.
Yeah.
So,
That's exciting.
Yeah.
You've got a lot going on.
You kind of have to when you're in the business.
Yeah, if you don't have something new.
And this is not even your main
always-
source
I'm
of
hoping
income.
it will be. That's
Yeah.
what I'm building towards. This is what I want to do.
If you could give some advice to anybody that's thinking about designing or publishing a game, if you could just narrow it down to like the three main things, what would be the three most important things for somebody to approach a publisher and pitch an idea to them?
Make it short and sweet, because publishers hear a lot. But if you can get in with a game designer group, kind of like we have here, Jack, part of that group, that's the best way to kind of get your games ready to go. But yeah, make it short, because publishers hear a lot of pitches.
Okay.
Beyond that, make sure that you know that it's ready to go, because there are a lot of people that they absolutely love the game. They think they've got it fully designed, and they'll pitch it to a publisher, and most publishers have seen enough out there that they'll go, well, but you're kind of missing this and you're kind of missing that. So make sure that you get it really play tested. Those are the big things.
Gotcha.
So one of the things, though, especially if you are a game designer and you're thinking about how to get it published, unless you want to go into business, find a publisher. Because there are so many people that, yes, you're excited about your game, it's a great game. Most people who design games are like that, but they don't realize all the other things that go into actually
Right.
publishing a game. So, and that's the thing with the gins. Alec he'd done all the graphics, he'd done all those kind of design works, was looking at, who could manufacture it, and I talked to him, and that's where it was like, hey, are you really ready to go into business? And he's kind of like, no, I just want to get my game out there. I was like, you're going to have so much other work, you probably ought to look somewhere else.
Gotcha.
But that, design games, because we need games.
Yes, we do. Can never catch them all.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of the creative marketplace, is that ideas create ideas, so that there's always something new and innovative coming along, a new way of looking at things, a new old way of taking a look at things and making it fun again. And so you've brought us three very different styles of game. That is really spectacular.
Out of like 30.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
But thank you so much, Tom, for joining us
Robert?
this morning.
So glad to see you this morning.
Oh, yes. And yes, now I'm going to have to walk out there and pull a couple games off the shelf and
Yes.
and go to Cam. Ring it up.
Of course, you never know. This is live stream. They beat you to it.
So somebody was actually watching. Oh. So you didn't keep up with demand, Tom. Come on now. Or was it just Cam didn't order enough?
Cam didn't order enough.
We'll have to talk to him about that. So,
It looks like somebody else enjoyed playing that at SoulCon too.
Oh yes, yes.
So thank you for joining us. The Guild of Gamers livecast, episode number 3. If you've missed any of this, don't worry. You can always go catch the rewind on the video section of the Petrie's Family Games Facebook page, or we're going to be combining it all into one video for the YouTube channel for Petrie's Family Games, which will be up very soon. That you'll be able to catch us again live April 26th, 27th, or 28th, that weekend.
Sometime.
We may go live every day. We don't know. She may be on a live kick that whole weekend for Game Fest in Denver, Colorado, which Petrie's has been hosting for 7 years.
7 years.
And Tom will be there.
Yes, we will.
Praying for Superpowers will be there. Sean Brown from Mr. B Games. Mr. Lehman from the Lovecraft Society, right?
Yes.
And a bunch of other guests. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be my first. I'm going to be a Game Fest virgin. It's going to be great.
We hope that the game designers have inspired you today to think about maybe games that you are working on, and no matter where you're at in the process, that there is always something new to be working on. Whether you're thinking about going into business for yourself or whether or not you are looking for a publisher. So, if you are ready for that kind of thing, we want to remind you that we have pitched your game events at Game Fest. Our game designers and industry leaders that are going to be coming, some of them are going to have specific dates for you to be able to come in and talk to them about your game. So, be thinking about the incredible device that you're
Incredible
using.
device.
As you were thinking about that opportunity coming up. So,
And if you don't keep it short and sweet, like Tom said, we're going to throw you into the tiny dungeon.
Or if you want longer, and I'll get my pitch in here, every fourth Saturday here at Petrie's Game Designer Development Meeting. Come, we'll answer questions, we'll play test games. It's a great.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for joining us. Keep on gaming, have fun.
that's right. And be sure to follow us on all of our social media accounts so that you know when we're going live next.
We'll see you next month. Thanks for joining.
Bye, everyone.